Take this free HVAC practice exam to study for your HVAC certification test. Question 1. What is the symbol for impedance? RIZP. The symbol or letter for impedance is Z and it is represented by writing its magnitude and phase. Question 2. The safety ground conductor for AC circuit is usually color-coded _ red, green, black, white. The NEC and NFPA has designated green as a ground. Question 3. Heat which causes a change in temperature of a substance is called latent heat, sensible heat, superheat, regular heat. Anytime there is a change of temperature indicated by the thermometer, the heat level or intensity can easily be measured. In the writings of the early scientists who provided the foundations of thermodynamics, sensible heat had a clear meaning in calorimetric. Question 4. What is heat, which causes a change in the state of a material without a change in temperature, called latent heat, sensible heat, superheat, regular heat? Heat, which causes a change of state without a change in temperature, is known as latent heat. An example of latent heat is water changing to ice or vice versa. Latent heat is the heat released or absorbed by a body or a thermodynamic system during a process that occurs without a change in temperature. Question 5. What is a sling psychrometer used to measure latent heat, superheat, wet and dry bulb temperature, barometric pressure? A sling psychrometer is a device that consists of two thermometers fitted in a hinged bracket used for spinning the two thermometers. One of the bulbs is kept moist with distilled water on a sock or wick placed over the thermometer's tip. As the thermometers are rotated, evaporation of water from the wick lowers the temperature, indicating a lower temperature than that of the dry bulb thermometer. This is the wet bulb temperature, which will be lower than the dry bulb and can never be above dry bulb measurement. The lower the relative humidity, the lower the wet bulb temperature. The difference in the two bulbs' readings can be applied to a psychrometric chart to calculate relative humidity and other properties of air. Question 6. A compressor is operating with a discharge pressure of 235.3 sig and a suction pressure of 35.3 sig. What is the compression ratio, pumping ratio? 10:1, 8:1, 7:1, 5:1. Compression ratio is found by dividing the absolute discharge pressure by the absolute suction pressure. PSIG is converted to absolute by adding 14.7 to the pressure. In this problem, discharge pressure 235.3 plus 14.7 equals 250 psia and the suction pressure 35.3 plus 14.7 equals 50 psia. 250/50 equals 5. The ratio is 5:1. Question 7. In a direct expansion evaporator, liquid refrigerant must boil away as close to the end of the coil as possible in order to ensure proper oil return, ensure that frost does not accumulate, subcool the compressor, operate at high efficiency. Direct type evaporators are designed to operate most efficiently with approximately 10 degrees superheat. In order to have superheat, all liquid must be boiled away before reaching the end of the evaporator. Question 8. A thermal expansion valve that is stuck wide open will cause low suction pressure, a flooded evaporator, excessive superheat, a starved evaporator. A valve that is in the maximum open position will have liquid refrigerant flowing at a rate faster than the evaporator could boil it away, thus creating a flooded coil and liquid refrigerant going back to the compressor. Question 9. What is the major difference between a heat pump and an air conditioner? Condenser, thermostatic expansion valve, evaporator, reversing valve. The reversing valve is the component that will reverse the flow of refrigerant when changing from air conditioning to heating. Question 10. What device controls the supplementary electric heat according to the outdoor temperature? Auxiliary temperature control, outdoor auxiliary thermostat, outdoor ambient thermostat, indoor thermostat only. To control energy, the heat pump will incorporate outdoor thermostats to limit the auxiliary heat before the balance point is reached. Question 11. Which of the following is not a factor that should be considered when installing an outdoor unit? Return air, wind factors, sound transmission, snowfall. When installing the outdoor unit, the return air is not a factor in the installation, all of the other answers are factors involving installation. Question 12. What is the minimum clearance for access panels on an outdoor condensing unit? 36 inches, 30 inches, 15 inches, 10 inches. Most manufacturers recommend 30 inches of clearance from the structure, bushes, hedges, and any other obstructions. Question 13. 1 BTU is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of ice 1 degree Fahrenheit, 1 pound of water 1 degree Fahrenheit, 1 gallon of water 1 degree Fahrenheit, 1 gallon of water 8 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 BTU is the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water 1 degree Fahrenheit. The pound of water absorbs 1 BTU of energy to change from 68 degrees Fahrenheit to 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Question 14. What is the primary composition of natural gas? 65% methane, 75% methane, 85% methane, 95% methane. Natural gas distributed for consumer use is 95.4% methane, 2.2% ethane, 1.6% nitrogen, 0.5% carbon dioxide, 0.2% propane, 0.04% butane, 0.01% oxygen, and 0.05% miscellaneous gases. Question 15. The electric heat element is usually made of what material? Copper with a brass coating, nickel with a cadmium coating, nickel and steel, nickel and chromium. Heat elements are made of nichrome, which is nickel and chromium. They are combined to create a resistance wire. Question 16. Which of the following is an example of a resistive load? Bimetal switch, crankcase heater, transformer, motor. A resistive load is an electrical load in which voltage and current are in phase and are converted to energy in the form of heat. Other examples of a resistive load are electrical heaters and incandescent bulbs. Question 17. An oversized heating and cooling system can cause which of the following? Operating cost and relative humidity in the structure will decrease significantly. Moisture damage to a furnace heat exchanger and inadequate humidity removal during cooling cycles. The structure will develop low humidity levels in the cooling season and high humidity in the winter. Equipment will last longer and require less energy to operate due to the shorter run time. Oversizing a system will cause short cycling, which will cause moisture problems. In the summer, not enough moisture will be removed, making the structure uncomfortable with very poor energy usage. In the winter, the system will not heat up enough, causing moisture to condense in the heat exchanger, as well as the venting system, shortening the life of the system. Question 18. When the temperatures of a structure both inside and outside are equal, there is no heat transfer, latent heat transfer to the outside, thermal heat transfer of sensible heat, a lower rate of relative humidity. In order for heat to transfer, there must be a difference in temperature. This follows the second law of thermodynamics. Heat travels from a warmer area to cooler area. Question 19. Polyester, PO, oil stored in plastic containers will separate, become more alkaline, become acidic, absorb moisture through the plastic. Polyester, PO, oils are very hygroscopic and must be stored in a metal containers. Plastic containers may be permeable to moisture. Question 20. R407C has a foul odor, to be charged in the vapor phase, the ability to fractionate, no temperature glide. R407C is a near-azeotropic ternary blend of hydrofluorocarbons refrigerants. It contains difluoromethane, R32, pentafluoroethane, R125, and 1,1,1,2-tetrafluoroethane, R134A, which all have different pressure-temperature relationships. Question 21. What is a carbon footprint? The carbon deposits from burning gasoline, the amount of carbon dioxide that is produced to support your lifestyle, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere produced by the world's lifestyle, the amount of carbon in the stratosphere. A carbon footprint is an estimate of how much carbon dioxide is produced to support a person's lifestyle. Essentially, it measures an individual's impact on the climate based on how much carbon dioxide the person produces. Factors that contribute to a carbon footprint include the individual's travel methods and general home energy usage. Question 22. What is energy management? A rule that the total amount of energy stays constant in an isolated system over time, recovering energy lost while using mechanical equipment, reading the electric and fuel gas meters every month, the monitoring and controlling of energy-consuming devices. Energy management is a very broad term used to cover the entire field of energy and its use. Energy management can be subdivided into more specific areas such as purchase utility, energy consumption, and energy demand.